Hey, saxophone students. So today we're looking at the saxophone ensemble piece for your upcoming recital. This is Didn't My Lord Deliver Daniel? Um, Grab a pencil, and if you don't already have your instrument, you will need it. So go get it and just push the pause button. We'll wait for you. Okay, welcome back. If you have not already written the date at the top of this piece of music, please take that pencil and do it now. So at the top of that first page, go ahead and write May 16. That is our recital date. And then directly under that, I want you to write rain date May 23. Okay, so you should have May 16 and then rain date May 23. We will do whatever we can to make that May 16th date work. Okay, if it's just like a small shower passing through, because it is an outdoor recital, if it's just a small shower that's coming through, we'll just delay the start of the recital by 15 or 20 minutes, and we'll make that work. If it's something that we just cannot work around, that is what that May 23rd date is for. All right, so if there's just no way we're going to be able to do our recital outside on the 16th, that is what that May 23rd date is for. So write that at the top of your music right now. All right, and then that's coming up really soon, right? So let's get started here. We're going to start at the beginning. We're going to be looking at the first 7 measures, second, third, and tenor. We're going to start with you. We have this accompaniment rhythm going on in those first few measures. 1 and is like the base for all of this. So second and thirds, you have 1 and then tenors, you have the same thing, but then you just add some eighth notes after it. 1 and 4 and. So this is just that one measure all by itself. I know that sounds kind of weird to do, but I just want to make sure that that rhythm is correctly in place. So just measure 1 and 1, 2, ready? All right, and tenors, you finished it off with and 4 and. All right, here it is again. Just that first measure, just to make sure that it's correctly in place. And 1, 2, ready? Okay. And now we get into all of these eighth notes. So take a look, everybody, take a look at alto 1's part. Notice that they have eighth notes 1 and 2 and 4 and, right? In measure 2, look at the second alto part. They take over the eighth notes 1 and 2 and. Now look at the third part. They have 3 and 4 and. All right, so 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That eighth note is getting bounced around from part to part. And then in measures 3 and 4, it does the same thing. You have that same accompaniment rhythm, seconds, thirds, and tenors. And then we start bouncing around that eighth note between the parts. Okay, I'm going to do something kind of weird. I'm going to play all of the eighth notes as they come up. I want you to play your part, but I'm going to play all of the eighth notes just so that we can hear them like lining up, what it all sounds like when we put them together. All right, so here we go from the beginning to measure 7, just the eighth notes. And if you're like, oh, I wanted to hear it in context, we'll get there in just a minute. Don't worry about it. All right, so just the eighth notes on my end, but you're playing your part. Everybody's in. 1, 2, and 1, 2, ready? Sorry about that. Dropped one of the measures. That's okay though. But hopefully you heard all of those eighth notes moving around. If you even just wanted to go watch it so that you could see where all of that is happening, then you could do that too. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and switch to audio where you will get to hear that in context. Okay. So again, get your instrument ready because this is going to be starting from the beginning. Maybe. Oh, right. Got to get out of Zoom first and into. Okay. 1, 2, 1, 2. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 that would be the downbeat of letter A. Okay, cool. The nice thing about this is you could go back and do that again. Like you can back up the track, but I will give you one more shot at it here. Playing, make sure that you are playing, get that instrument up and ready. I'm not going to play with you just so that it's easier for you to hear what's going on in context. Okay, here we go again. And 1, 2, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, good. And so now here we are at letter A. All right. At letter A, we have that same accompaniment rhythm that we had a little while ago up in the first couple measures. 1 and, but now they're just followed by eighth notes. Okay, so 1 and 4 and 1. Okay, look at measure 9. Everyone look at measure 9. In measure 9, we all have a quarter note. Do you see how everyone has a quarter note on beat 1? And then we all have a pair of eighth notes with that second eighth note tied either to a half note, a quarter note, or another eighth note. But we all have quarter note and then a pair of eighth notes. That first eighth note, we're going to put a staccato marking over it. We're going to make that short. So it'll be 1, 2, and instead of 1, 2, and. Okay, so that measure 9 is going to sound like 1, 2, and. All right, same thing in the following measure. You have quarter note and then a pair of eighth notes. I know seconds, you have a whole note that you're tying from the previous measure, so this isn't you. But first, thirds, and tenors make that first eighth note in the measure short. All right, and then again in the next measure, seconds, now you have it again, and thirds have that whole note. So in all of those measures, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and make them short. All right, and now if you look ahead to measure 13, there it is again. And yes, you'll treat it the same way. 1, 2, and make it short. Okay, so here is letter A. Go ahead and let's get ready to play back at letter A. And we're going to stop at letter B. We're not going to take the repeat just yet. We'll get there, but not just yet. I'm going to back this up a little bit just so it's easier for us to get a start on it. And here we go. Here's letter A. Ready, go. 1 and. Here's short. 1, 2, and. 2 and. 2 and. All right, cool. And that takes us to letter B, to that repeat sign the first time. Go back to letter A for just a moment. So you're going to take that repeat from B to A. Yes, you are going to take that repeat from B back to A again. And then under the staff at letter A, notice that it says MF-P. What is that? The first time you're going to play mezzo forte. The second time, yeah, you got it. You're going to play piano. All right, so the first time play mezzo forte, and then when you go back and take the repeat, let's play it at mezzo piano. All right, we're going to back up all the way to where we can do that again. So here's letter A again. Get ready for it. And we're going to go ahead and take the repeat this time. All right, so letter A. And 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and. 1, 2, and then take the repeat and shush. Good. All right, and now here we are at letter B. Grab that pencil again. So at measure 9, I had you play that first eighth note short, right? 1, 2, and. This time we're going to play that first note long. So look at letter B. All altos, you have a pair of eighth notes and then an eighth rest. We're going to play that first eighth note long. 1 and 4. Okay, so put a little like tenuto line over that first note. so that you know to play long, short, 1 and 4. Okay, it happens again in measure 20. So go ahead and mark it there as well. And then firsts and thirds, you actually have it in measure 21 as well. So go ahead and mark it there. Measure 22, they're just going to be square eighth notes. There's going to be nothing special about them. That reminds me, when we're putting this tenuto marking over the first note and then making that second eighth note a little bit shorter, this is not to be interpreted as swing. Okay, you are not going to swing these eighth notes. We're just going to put a little bit of length on the first one and shorten, clip the second one. We're not actually shifting it over as we would in swing. All right. Okay, so here is letter B. Let's give this a try. Tenors, you are chugging along as our bass line. This is a fun part, but place all of those notes really, really carefully because you are acting as a metronome for the rest of us. Okay, we're going to start at letter B. Letter B, get those instruments ready, and here we go. 1, 2, letter B. Do da da. And that's letter C. Okay, before we leave this section, let's look at this. Measures 22, 23, and 24. We have another eighth note handoff going on here. So notice that you have in the second alto part, everybody look at the second alto part. Seconds and thirds actually have eighth notes 3 and 4 and, right? And then the first alto part, everybody look at the first alto part, rest and 2 and then thirds you take it over 3 and 4 and then thirds and tenors 1 and 2 and 1. You got that one measure of 2 in there. So 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, letter C. Okay, let's do just that. Again, I'm going to hop around on the eighth notes just so that you can hear how it all lines up when it's put together. Just checking. And here we go at 22. 1, 2, 1, 2, 22. It would help if I tied that correctly. Here, we'll try again. 1, 2, 22. And then we're to letter C. Okay, so that's how it'll all like fit in. Let's back up and let you try it. So we'll go to, let's go here. All right, so we're coming up on 22. 1, 2, ready, go. And 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 1. And there's where we land on letter C. Okay, so now let's go all the way back to letter B. I don't think I've ever done this like while I'm on a Zoom meeting before, like scrolling through all this stuff. So sorry if it's taken me just a second. Okay, and here comes letter B. Get ready to play. 1, 2, letter B, go. Long, short, 1 and 1 and just square. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, letter C. All right, cool. Once we get to letter C, all of what we did at letter A kind of like copy pastes itself. Now you're at a forte, but it's pretty much the same as it was at letter A. Okay, until we get to the last 3 measures. So the last 3 measures are like a little tag onto the end just to kind of finish it off a little bit, but take a look at it. First, you have lots of eighth notes to play, but seconds and thirds, tenors will come back to you in just a moment. Seconds and thirds, look at measure 32. It's the third to last measure. You have that half note 3, 4. All it is just 3, 4 seconds. You have another eighth note, so 4 and. But be careful that you're holding that half note. You're going to hear, firsts moving around on those eighth notes, and you're going to want to go with them. Give them the time to finish playing their notes, okay? So 1, 3, 4, and 1. Or 1, 3, 4, 1. Don't rush on ahead. All right, everybody looking at the second to last measure. This is measure 33. Everybody has the same thing for those first two beats, 1, 2, and then you either have 3, 4 and, or 3 and 4 and. It's either one of those, 1, 2, 3, 4 and then tenors. Push into those last few eighth notes that you have, 4 and 1 and 2 and, because all of us have to line back up with you on the and of 2. On your very last note, everybody plays. Look at your music and you see how like it all lines up on that 1/8 note. Altos, you're gonna wait 1 and 1, 2 and. Okay, let's try playing just those last 3 measures. Just those last 3 measures. We're gonna play the second alto part. And 1, 2, last 3. 1, 2, ready. All right, I also forgot to mention, go ahead and put just a little bit of length, on the first one. Second altos. Everybody else is going to kind of clip that last note because the way the slur is marked, I'm pretty sure that they will just naturally do it. But make sure that you put a little bit of length on the first and clip the second. Here's those last 3 measures again. And 1, 2, ready. Right, and tenors really push into that for us so that we get it like really clearly what's happening. Okay, we're going to back up now. We're going to play from letter C to the end. Also notice the dynamic marking those last 3 measures. Shush. And then that last note, be careful. It's marked at 2 Fs. Be careful that it doesn't like squawk out at us. We play it nice and big. Tenors bark out that G, but be careful that it doesn't like lose control. Okay. Here we are at letter C. Oh, that was right at letter C. Sorry about that. We'll back it up just a little bit more. Letter C. And ready, go. 1, 4 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 All right, so now we've walked through the whole thing. I am going to play from the beginning all the way through. I'm not going to talk so that you get to hear everything what's going on. I'm not going to give you any verbal cues. I'll give you a couple visual cues as we go. But the nice thing about this is that after we do this, you can go back and play with it as many times as you would like, just to help you feel a little bit better about the upcoming recital. All right, so here we are from the beginning. Get those instruments ready. And this is all the way through, no stopping. 1, 2, 1, 2, ready. go. Okay, so this is a really fun piece to play. I don't know if you're finding it really fun, but it is really fun, especially when we put all of you together. I know right now you're only all hearing your own parts, but now that you've heard it in context, this is going to be good. It's even better when you can observe the dynamic markings that are there. So, as much as possible, drop to those pianos and really come up for those fortes because it just adds a lot to this piece. All right. If you have questions, feel free to send me a message, email me, ask me in your next lesson. I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. May 16th is coming fast, so get on this. Practice with that rehearsal track that we just heard a few times just so that you're comfortable on it on recital day. I'll see all of you in your next lessons. Have a great day.